All right. Hey, Shalom Israel, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Barakatham, Yahweh Shamar Alatan Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. I am priest and officer of 5,000, Yatazaba lawyer, and the Isupk out of headquarters under commanding General Yohana. And I'm here holding the class down for Officer Paratazak. All right. Today, y'all know, is Monday history class. We're going to go over some biblical history in the Bible. All right. As you can see, the title of the class is Isupk Monday History Class, Obey Your Masters. Shout out to everybody that's on TikTok. All right. This class will be in English. Class salap en anglais, li va en créole. So, sou parli créole, ou va parler anglais, red branché pour ka apprendre anglais. All right. So that's the people that's tuning in that only speak Creole. Stay tuned so you can learn this English. All right. Because we need to learn different things. So tonight we're going to talk about some history in the Bible. There's a reason why I have obey your masters. There is a scripture that a lot of people, especially in the black community, they use this scripture a lot to say that, you see, the white man wrote the Bible because it says, slave, obey your masters, right? However, that is not what the Bible is talking about. And I'm going to show you real quick. We're going to go to this scripture real quick, which is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 5. I'm putting it on the screen for everybody to see on YouTube. Ephesians 6 and 5 says what? It says, servant, obey your masters. All right. That's what it says. In some version, all right, it says, servant, be obedient to them that are your masters. Verbatim, that's what it says. Now, in some versions, you will see that it says, slave, obey your masters. Like in French, there is a version in the French where it says, slave, obey your masters, right? But it's not talking about literal slaves. It is talking about a military system, right? Now, you have to be a soldier to understand Ephesians chapter 6, verse 5. If you're not a soldier, I can understand why a lot of people wrestle, they struggle with this one verse out of the Bible, right? And the main reason is because they're not soldiers. They do not have the concept of obeying somebody that is superior than them. They don't have that concept, right? Soldiers understand this. That's why you become a soldier. You become a soldier to obey somebody that is a superior, somebody that is more powerful, somebody that is stronger, somebody that is a leader. That's how, and that's the reason why people become soldiers. It's something that is very masculine, right? To obey someone, to not follow your own will, but to obey someone above you for the sake of your people, for the sake of your nation. So let's read that scripture real quick, and then we're going to go in the book of Numbers. We're going to show you some people who did not want to obey their masters. Brown Hornet, Shalom, Ayin Lawana, Shalom, Akwaf, Yah, Shemara, Toba, Hashem, Yah, Shai. Shout out to my ribs. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Make sure you share it alive, all right? So let's finish on that scripture real quick. We are in Ephesians 6 and 5. Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters, according to the flesh, with fear and trembling, in singleness of your heart, as unto Christ. So the same way that you will be obedient to Christ, right? We are obedient to Christ in the truth. We come into the truth and change our lives. We change our lives. Why? Because we are obedient unto Christ. It's the same way you change your life, the same way that you don't do what you used to do, right, in the world, because now you are sincerely being obedient to the Most High Power, because that's why we do it in the first place. Through Christ is the same way. The men that are above you, the men that the Most High God put above you, you are supposed to be obedient to them, because by being obedient to them, you are being obedient to the Father. You are being obedient to the Most High Power, right? Someone who's not a soldier cannot understand this chain of command. And I'm going to show you somebody in the scriptures, right? In the book of Numbers, chapter 16, we're going to talk about Korah, right? But before we go that, we're going to get the backdrop, and then we're going to come back to the chapter in Ephesians, right? So we could break it down further. Now, let's go to Numbers chapter 13, right? Let's go to some history. That's before, when you're on Numbers, here in Numbers chapter 13, that is prior to us entering the promised land, right? This is when Moses is going to send brothers to go and spy out the land, to check it out, and this is what's happening here in Numbers, the 13th chapter. So let's read it real quick. Numbers 13:1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Send thou men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man, every one a ruler among them. So this is the order that the Most High gave Moses. You're going to take a man out of each tribe, and you're going to send them to the land of Canaan, which became our homeland, which was our homeland, that is, filthy bastard were polluting. They polluted that land, and we were to go and spy out the land. Moses was to send 12 brothers, to send brothers from each tribe, right? And verse 3, and Moses, by the commandment of the Lord, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads of the children of Israel. Now, verse 4, and these were the names of the tribe of Reuben, the son of Zakar. Verse 5, of the tribe of Simeon, Shaphat, the son of Hori. So from verse 4 all the way down to verse 15, it gives you, each man that Moses sent, and from each tribe, from the tribe of Gad, Naphtali, Asher, Dan, Joseph, Zebulun, Benjamin, Ephraim, Issachar, Judah, Simeon, all right? And notice that the tribe of Levi is not there, because Levi were the priests. All right, we were not going to have any land, because we will be among all the tribes, right? Now let's keep on going. Verse 16, these are the names of the men which Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses called Oshea, the son of Nun, Jehoshua. Verse 17, and Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, get you up this way southward, and go up in the mountain. Verse 18, and see the land, what it is, and the people that dwell therein, whether they be strong or weak, few or many. All right, so basically Moses sent them to, do a temperature check. We're going to check the temperature. We're going to see what it is like. Let's see how the land is. Let's see how the people is, how strong, they are, what it's looking like. All right, verse 19. And what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, or what cities they be that dwell therein, whether in tents or in strongholds. All right, verse 20. And what the land is, whether it be fat or lean, whether there be good, whether there be wood therein or not, and be ye of good courage, and bring of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. So basically, all right, Moses wanted a report, all right, as the Lord instructed him to do when you read verse 1. All right, verse 1 and verse 1 and verse 2. So he wanted a report to know exactly, all right, what's going on in this land of Canaan that we are about to go and take over. All right, verse 21. So they went up and searched the land from the wilderness of Zin unto Rehab, as men come to Hamath. Verse 22. We're going to go all the way down to verse 33. All right, we're going to go through this history. Verse 22. And they ascended by the south and came into Hebron, where Ahiman, Shashai, and Talmai, the children of Anak, were. All right, verse 23. And they came unto the brook of Eshcol, and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes. So this they're gonna take to bring it back, so they could see, so they could show to Moses, this is, the fruit that this land bears. And they buried between two upon a staff, and they brought of the pomegranates and of the figs. Verse 24. The place was called the brook Eshcol, because of the cluster of grapes which the children of Israel cut down from thence. Verse 25. And they returned from searching of the land after 40 days. Now, when you look at this land that our enemies, they trying to, take over. They trying to gain more territory. Of course, that's how the devil is. You give him an inch, he's gonna take a mile. In 1948, they got this part of the land right now that they inhabit, right, which is our homeland, a part of our homeland. When you look at the fruits, when you look at the riches, when you look at the that whole land mass, this is a land that is very rich, and there is no reason why us as a people, we should not understand why these people are fighting so much for us to not know our identity and to be claiming Africa, because they want our heritage. That is our heritage. The whole earth is our heritage, but that is our sanctuary that they trying to take control over, right? And they do not want us to ever claim this identity that we are the chosen people of God, that we are the true Israelites, because if we are, then that means we need to get back to our homeland, and they need to be evicted, right? They need to be evicted from that territory. Let's keep on going. And they, verse 25, and they returned from searching of the land after 40 days. So they spent 40 days. All right. They spent 40 days to go and come back. And now they're about to give Moses the report. Verse 26. And they went and came to Moses and to Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel unto the wilderness of Paran to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them and unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. Verse 27. And they told him and said, we came into the land whither thou sendest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. Basically, this land is rich. This is a rich land. All right, that's what milk and honey symbolizes. This is a land that we ain't gonna have any need. Everything we need is right here in this land. All right, verse 28. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south. So now they about to tell Moses about the adjacent people that live around the land. Now, when you go back to Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter, you're going to see that Moses told the children of Israel what God have said for us not to mingle with these nations. These are the nations, when you read Deuteronomy 7:3, that the Most High was telling us, look, do not go and make marriages with these nations. Why? Because these nations were around us. They were round about us, right? The Amalekites dwelled in the land of the south, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of Jordan. Verse 30. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. Verse 31. But the man that went up with him said, we be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. Verse 32. And they brought up an evil report. This is what they did. They brought up an evil report, meaning a false report, to discourage the man. Listen to this carefully. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw the giants, the son of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. Meaning that these people are too strong for us, which the Most High do not care about. And we're going to see what's going to happen with this congregation that Moses, mind you, this is after Egypt. This is in the wilderness now that we are free from the oppression of the Egyptians. This is after all the miracles, all the plagues that the Most High rained on Egypt, after the people saw all of these miracles, listen to how they're going to talk to the Lord's anointed, to the person that the Most High chose to lead us, to lead our forefathers out of captivity. Verse 14. And all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. Verse 2. And the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron, and the whole congregation said unto them, Would God that we had died in the land of Egypt. They prefer, it's like, you know what? We should have stayed enslaved in Egypt, man. Why you bring us over here? Why you bring us over here? Now we are free. We are free now. We are free people. We don't have to serve our masters anymore. Why don't we just go back to Egypt and serve the Egyptians? This is how destroyed our people were back then and are still the same way today. When you look at, the ignorance of our people today, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, you may marvel and say, damn, man, our people, you mean to tell me our people are so destroyed? We were the same way back then. And these men, they witness the miracles. These people, they witness, the miracles that the Most High God used to free us from bondage. Yet they still murmured against Moses. They still spoke against Moses. They still whisper, this guy get us out of Egypt, and look at us. We in this wilderness right now. We can't eat that good Egyptian food. We don't have the Egyptians bossing us around. We should go back to Egypt instead of being here in the wilderness. And the whole congregation said unto them, Would God that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would God we had died in this wilderness? Verse 3. And wherefore have the Lord brought us unto this land, to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be a prey? So is that why the Most High God took us out of Egypt, out of oppression, out of slavery, to bring us over here so that we can be unalive, like prey in this wilderness? Were it not better for us to return to Egypt? So to them, it would be better. It's better to be slave in Egypt than to be free in the wilderness, because these people did not want to work. These people did not want to obey God. They did not want to build their own nation. And we have people among us, among our nation, that's the same way. The same way. They the one quick to say, why y'all got the white man, bowing down to y'all, man? We should love America, like Martin Luther King. We should love America. These men were in love with Egypt. They wanted to go back to Egypt. Verse 4, and they said one to another, Let us make a captain, and let us return into Egypt. They want to go back to slavery. They want to go back to be the slaves of the Egyptians, because freedom costs. It costs. It costs to be free. It's going to cost you to be free. It's going to require from you to work. It's going to require from you to be a soldier, to be a warrior. It's going to require from you to protect your woman, to lead your woman and your children, to educate your woman and your children, and not to let another nation do it. These people were lazy, man. Let's just go back to Egypt. We got all the schools, we got all the hospitals, we got all the food, we got everything in Egypt. We come here in this wilderness. Now we got to start from scratch. We got to obey this man that some God, used to get us out of slavery. We saw the miracles, but the hell with that. Let's go back to being the servant of the Egyptians. This is the mindset. Verse 5, then Moses and Aaron fell on their face before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. And Joshua, verse 6, the son of Nun, and Caleb. And there's a reason for that. When you see it says, then Moses and Aaron fell on their face before the assembly, because they know what's coming. They know that the Most High is a terrible God, and He will. Let me not say this yet. Let's get to it. Let's get to that part because the scripture is gonna explain exactly what I'm about to tell y'all. Let me not jump the gun. Where we at? We in verse 7. And they spake unto all the company of the children of Israel, saying, the land which we passed through to search it is an exceeding good land. If the Lord delight in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it us, a land which floweth with milk and honey. Only, verse 9, only rebel not ye against the Lord. Don't rebel against God. All right. Do not rebel against God. Do not be disobedient to God. This is the will of the Father. This is the will of the Most High. All right. And don't rebel against his will. Soldiers do not understand this. Soldiers don't understand this. Why? Because someone who's not a soldier, someone who's not about building his nation, building his people, he want to do his own will. And the will that they want to do is to just be comfortable. Just be a comfortable slave. Just be comfortable in Egypt. As long as we're comfortable in Egypt, the hell with, building a nation, the hell with educating our women, the hell with, having an army to protect us from our enemies, the hell with that. Let's just be good slave in Egypt. We got some good food, we say, yes, master. All right, let's be good slave in America. That's how people who are not soldiers, that's how they think. In the Isupk, we are soldiers, man. We understand the task. We understand, what it is to follow the will of someone who is above us. All right. We understand this. All right. Give me 1 second, Israel. We're gonna move to verse we're in verse 9, I believe. Give me 2 seconds, Israel. Let me set this up. All right, we to walk. All right, verse 9. Only rebel not ye against the Lord, neither fear ye the people of the land. Don't fear these people either. Don't fear these people that they are strong, they have a strong army. Do not fear them, because why? The Most High want us to have this land. This is our land. And they are polluting our land with their vain philosophies, with their idols. And we should not fear them. For they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Fear them not. And you cannot have any doubt, man. When you are in this truth, when you are serving God, you cannot have any doubt that the Most High God is with you. All right. You cannot fear, another nation. Cannot fear your enemies, man, because our enemies, they are nothing, man. You got to understand who you are. We are God's chosen people. We are the Israelites, man. We are it. All right. And this is what Joshua is telling the people. Don't rebel against God. Don't rebel against Moses. Right. This is who the Most High chose. Servant, obey your masters. This is who the Most High chose. All right. Verse 10. But all the congregation bade stone. Let's read verse 9 again. Let's listen to what Joshua said and see what happened in verse 10. Only rebel not ye against the Lord, neither fear ye the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Fear them not. All right. Verse 10. All right, we Tawab, Most High Christ. I have to make sure the sound was Tawab. All right, verse 10. We in the book of Numbers, chapter 14. We in verse 10 now. But all the congregation bade stone them with stones. And the glory of the Lord appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation before all the children of Israel. Verse 11. And the Lord said unto Moses, how long will this people provoke me? How long will it be ere they believe me? for all the signs which I have showed among them. This is what I was talking about earlier. These people witnessed all the signs, all the wonders, all the miracles that the Most High God did to destroy our enemies so that we can get out of bondage. The Most High heard our cry. This is the reason why he had respect unto us, like it says in the scriptures. The Most High had respect unto us. Why? Because our cry reached him. So now, after having respect unto us, meaning looking at us, looking at our plights, looking at our struggles, and decided, you know what? I'm going to use my servant. I'm going to use Moses to lead you out of this captivity. And the Most High did all the signs, did all the plagues, different plagues that came down on Egypt, down to the last plagues, which give us our high holy day, which is the Passover, where he destroyed the firstborn of every Egyptian. Not only the Egyptians, even the animals, the firstborn of every animals got unalive. And our people back then saw all of these miracles, yet they came against God. And the Lord said unto Moses, how long will this people provoke me? We provoked the Most High. And how long will it be they believe me for all the signs which I made, which I have showed among them? Verse 12, I will smite them with the pestilence and disinherit them, and will make of thee a greater nation and mightier than they. Now, this is what the Most High was going to do. But Moses had the ultimate spirit of brotherhood, man. That is the spirit of Christ that we are about to read right now in verse 13. That is the spirit of Christ, because Moses, one thing about Moses, man, he loved his people. When you go back to Exodus, the 2nd chapter, I believe, where the two Hebrews, where the Israelites were fighting one another, and Moses came amongst them and was trying to, why y'all fighting each other, man? Moses, even though he grew up in the house of Pharaoh, even though he grew up like an Egyptian, he loved his people. Moses had and that's why you can see why the Most High chose him. The Most High chose Moses to lead his people out of captivity, because he truly had a sincere mind, a sincere heart. He truly had the spirit of Christ in him. Let's read it. We in the book of Numbers, chapter 14, verse 13. And Moses said unto the Lord, then the Egyptians shall hear it, for thou broughtest up these people in thy might from among them. Verse 14. And they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land, for they have heard that thou, Lord, art among his people. That thou, Lord, listen, you see this? Moses was not a Christian. The Christian pastor will be like, you know what? Damn these people. Because the Christian pastor think he's safe. He think he is safe and everybody else going to hell. Moses did not think like this about his people, even though they came against him. Now listen to how he's talking to the Most High about the people that's coming up against him. Moses have all the reason to say, you know what? Yeah, these people, you know what? I'm with you. I'm with you on this. These people, they coming against me. They taking stones. They cursing me. They want to go back to bondage. They want to go back to Egypt after everything that I've done did, to get them out of the land of Egypt through your power, God. These people are coming up against me. You know what? The hell with them. Make me a nation. We would have been the Mosesite, the Mashaite. That's who we would have been if Moses was a Christian, had the spirit of a Christian, but Moses had the spirit of Christ. Let's read it. Verse 14. And they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land, for they have heard that thou, Lord, art among this people, and thou, Lord, art seen face to face, and that thy cloud standeth over them, and that thou goest before them by daytime in a pillar of a cloud and in a pillar of fire by night. All right, basically recounting the Exodus. right? When we came out of the land of Egypt. Now, if thou shalt unalive all these people as one man, then the nations which have heard the fame of thee will speak, saying, verse 16, because the Lord was not able to bring these people into the land which he sware unto them, therefore he have slain them in the wilderness. Verse 17, and now I beseech thee, I pray thee, let the power of my Lord be great, according as thou hast spoken, saying, the Lord is long suffering and of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression. So the Most High, Moses is asking the Most High to forgive these knuckleheads. Forgive these knuckleheads, God. Forgive them. Forgive them. He's not saying, you know what, destroy these people, man. They don't want to listen to me. I'm Moses. You know, they don't want to listen to me. Destroy them. Make me a great nation, like you said. No, Moses pleaded with the Most High because Moses loved these people, man. And a lot of time, people don't understand why we go into certain spaces. Why? Because they're like, man, y'all got the truth, man. Why y'all talking to these people? Why y'all debating these people, man? These people are lost. You know, leave them in the darkness, because they do not understand the scriptures. They don't understand the scriptures. It is our responsibility as priests and prophets of the Most High God. It is our responsibility to get our people out of darkness. That is the job. And Moses understood this. Moses understood damn well that he cannot just say, you know what, these people, you know, they are knuckleheads. They don't want to listen. They are stiff-necked. They don't want to listen to me. Just let them be destroyed. Let's keep on going. And by no means claiming the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. All right, verse 19. Pardon, I beseech thee, the iniquity of this people according unto the greatness of thy mercy, and as thou hast forgiven this people from Egypt, even until now. Verse 20. And the Lord said, I have pardoned according to thy word. This is so important. This is so crucial to understand the relationship that as a people we have with the Most High God. It's like a father. It's like a father having his sons, and his sons are fighting each other, right? And maybe one of them is right, and he's going to punish the other ones. He's going to punish the other ones, and this one son that is right comes to the father and say, Dad, you know, we were just playing, you know, forgive them. You know, you don't have to punish them. That father looking at the love that his son have for his brothers is something glorious. You know, and the Lord said, what? I have pardoned according to thy word. It is according to your word that I'm pardoning these people. Verse 21, but as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord, because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice. Verse 23, surely they shall not see the land. This is why nobody that from that generation entered the promised land. All right. Nobody from the generation aside from Joshua, all right, entered the congregation. I mean, entered the promised land. All right, where we at? Verse 23, because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles. Okay, verse 23, surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoke me see it. Verse 24, but my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him and have followed me fully, him will I bring into the land whereunto he went, and his seed shall possess it. Verse 25, now the Amalekites and the Canaanites dwell in the valley. All right, we're going to go to Korah. Let me see. Do I need all of this? Give me 2 seconds, Israel. All right, let's jump to Korah now, right? All right, let's jump to Korah. We're going to go in the book of Numbers. We're going to stay in Numbers. We're going to go to chapter 16. Now, we're going to see men that came up against Moses, right? Specific brothers. Now we talk about the congregation in verse 14, right? That came up against Moses saying, we should go back to Egypt. All right. You just brought us out here in the wilderness to die. Meanwhile, we can be good slaves in Egypt. All right. Now we in the book of Numbers. Now Korah, the son of Izar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan, and Abiram, the son of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men. And verse 2, they rose up before Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown. All right. So these men, they were, popular. They were famous. These men, they were like, they weren't just anybody, right? In Israel, these were the princes. These were men that people looked up to. Well, these men, they had a problem with Moses ruling. They had a problem with Moses. Remember the first scripture we went to, right? Which was Ephesians, the 6th chapter, which says what? Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters, according to the flesh, with fear and trembling, in singleness of heart, as unto Christ. All right. You're not a soldier. You're not going to understand this. Korah did not understand this. All right. And we're going to talk about it. Korah, all right. And the 250 princes that came up against Moses, they did not understand this. They did not understand why they should obey Moses, because they felt like, well, they princes, they famous in the congregation. They should be rulers just like Moses. They should rule just like Moses is. Verse 3, and they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron, and said unto them, ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy. So they don't understand the concept that the Most High have his anointed. They don't understand that the Most High chose Moses. The Most High chose Aaron. The Most High chose these men to rule over Israel. They don't understand this, because to them, all the congregation, we are all holy. All of us are holy. We all holy. We the holy people, right? So why you, Moses, and Aaron are ruling over all of us? Like we're not holy. We holy too, right? Every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Let's take it back. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron, and said unto them, ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Wherefore then lift ye up yourselves above the congregation of the Lord. How are you gonna lift up yourselves above the congregation? Like you lift up yourselves above us. We princes. We are famous in the congregation. And you think you all that? This is what we get in the Isupk. Why y'all say y'all the home of the truth? Why y'all following commanding General Yohana? We all got the truth. We all, doing this work. It's the same work. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, you're not holy. Yes, you are from the holy people. You're not the holy of holy. You are not the people that the Most High anointed to lead the children of Israel. You're supposed to be obeying your masters. You're not no master. You're a servant that is supposed to obey your masters. Korah did not understand this. He did not understand. The 250 princes, they did not understand this. They did not. They did not understand that Moses, let's go to another scripture real quick, that Moses was watching over their souls. They didn't understand this. Let's go to this scripture real quick. Hebrews chapter 13. All right. Give me 2 seconds, Israel. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 13 real quick, right? I think it's verse 17. Um, all right, Hebrews 13 and 17. What does it say? Obey them that have the rule over you and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls, as they that must give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. Let's read this again. Obey them that have the rule over you. Korah did not want to obey Moses. He did not want Moses to rule over him and his 250 princes. They were too famous. They were too prominent. They were too high minded to let Moses rule over them. They were too high minded to submit to a man that the Most High anointed, that the Most High chose. The Most High chose Moses. Moses did not decide, you know what, I'm going to be the leader of my people. Moses did not even want to do this. This was not his will. It wasn't his will to, uh, um, you know, rule over Israel. He didn't even want to do it. He didn't want to do it, but he was a soldier. He obeyed the Most High. He obeyed his master. That's what he did. All right. Just like Commanding General Yohana, a lot of people, they have a problem with Commanding General Yohana being the leader of this nation, man. Commanding General Yohana did not make himself the leader of the Isupk. It fell upon him. You understand? That is the difference with every so-called Israelite leaders today. Every so-called Israelite leaders, they chose to be the high priest. They chose to be the high deacon. They chose to be the high pegging deacon, whatever they doing over there on that side. They chose that position. They want to be leaders. They want to be famous. They want to be powerful. They want to have that position. Moses did not want that position. Neither did Commanding General Yohana want to, create his own thing. He did not. All right. Let's read that again. We in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 17. Obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls, as they that must give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. It is unprofitable to not obey your masters, man. And we're gonna see what happened to Korah and the 250 princes, that they felt too high-minded. They were too, they were too famous among Israel. You know, they were too famous among Israel to be listening to Moses. Who the hell is Moses? The hell with Moses. We holy too. Well, we're gonna see about that. We're gonna see. Let's share the screen real quick. Let's get back to it. Numbers chapter 16. We are in verse 3. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron, and said unto them, Ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Wherefore then lift ye up yourselves above the congregation of the Lord. Verse 4. And when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face. Remember, in verse 14, in chapter 14, rather, Salakia, in chapter 14, when the congregation came against Moses and Aaron, they fell upon their face, right? Because they knew what was coming. It's the same thing that's happening here. Moses is looking at these brothers, and Moses, he loves his people, man. Moses loves his people. He don't want to see these brothers destroyed. We're going to see. Verse 5. And he spake unto Korah and unto all his company, saying, Even tomorrow the Lord will show who are his and who is holy, and will cause. Listen, we are all holy, right? Why? Because we are God's chosen people. God wants us to be a holy people unto himself. That's what it says in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. But here we are talking among his holy people. God have men that he chose. He anointed these men. These men are moved by the Spirit of God. These men, they are not moved by the lust of power. Korah and the 250 princes, they were moved by the lust, by the lust of power. They wanted to be powerful, like Moses. They wanted to be leaders. They wanted the power. They wanted the glory. Moses did not want this. Aaron did not want this. This is not what they chose. The Most High chose them. They were moved by the Spirit. They were doing the will of the Father. They weren't doing their own will. This is the difference. And this is what a lot of men do not understand. They watch us and then they want to copy us and go do their own thing. They do not understand the structure. There is a structure that the Most High God put in place, and you have to follow that structure. You have to follow the structure. You can't just decide, you know what? I see what Moses is doing. I see what Aaron is doing. You know what? Let me call my buddies, man. Let me call the 250 princes, man, that are famous like I am. And let's go do our own thing, because Moses and Aaron, they're not the only holy people. We holy too. All right? Hey, Johnny, what's going on, man? Trump with the Trump the real quick. Let's get back to this. Right? So yeah, you cannot just decide, you know what, I'm going to copy this guy. We're going to do the same thing. I see what Moses is doing. I see what Aaron is doing. We're going to do the same thing because we are famous. We have power. You know, the children of Israel, they look up to us. So we're going to do the same. You can't do that. You have to follow the structure that God put in place. All right. The Most High God put a structure in place, and that's the structure we are to follow. Everything's solid, bro. Everything's solid. You know, we're preparing for the Passover. It's going to be in Houston, Texas. All right. Houston, Texas, April 4th. We're preparing for that. All right. And also after this season, you know, it's going to be cookout season all across the states. So we just preparing for that, man. We keep doing the work. That's what it is. We're staying strong, man. Let's keep going. I'm just addressing a brother real quick on TikTok. All right, let's get back to the scriptures. We are in Hebrews chapter 16, verse 6. This do take your censers, Korah, and all his company. The censers are, you know, if you look at you know, when we are at headquarters, we have these censers. That's what you put the charcoal and you put the incense in. That's what he's talking about. So he said, take your censers, Korah, and all his company, verse 7, and put fire therein, and put incense in them before the Lord tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom the Lord does choose, he shall be holy. Ye take too much upon you, ye sons of Levi. All right, you take too much upon you. You know, we are holy too. Verse 8, and Moses said unto Korah, hear, I pray you, ye sons of Levi. Seemeth, verse 9, seemeth it but a small thing unto you, that the God of Israel have separated you from the congregation of Israel, to bring you near to himself, to do the service of the tabernacle of the Lord, and to stand before the congregation to minister unto them. It's not a small thing. It is not a small thing to do this job. This job that you see the priest that the Lord chose, it's not a small thing. Don't think that it is a small thing, because it is not. Verse 10, and he have brought thee near to him, and all thy brethren, the sons of Levi, with thee, and seek ye the priesthood also. So you want the priesthood too. You want my position. You want my seat. Verse 11, for which cause both thou and all thy company are gathered together against the Lord. And what is Aaron that ye murmur against him? Let's read that back. Let's read that again. Verse 11, for which cause both thou and all thy company are gathered together against the Lord. Now, these brothers, they don't understand this. Because to them, they coming up against Moses. To them, they coming up against Aaron. They don't understand that they coming up against the Most High God. They don't understand it. Why? Because they're not soldiers. They do not understand the structure that the Most High put in place. You attack the Lord's anointed, you attacking God. Matter of fact, let's go to Ezekiel real quick. Let me show y'all something in Ezekiel. Let me show y'all something in Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter, right? All right. Ezekiel chapter 3. Let's share this instead. All right, verse 4, Ezekiel 3 and 4. All right, this is when the Most High God spoke to Ezekiel. He told him, take the book, eat the book, really, the words. And in verse 4, it says what? And he said unto me, Son of man, go and get thee unto the house of Israel and speak my words unto them. So speak to the children of Israel. Tell them my words. Ezekiel didn't go to the children of Israel to say what Ezekiel wanted to say, right? Ezekiel went and spoke the word of God to the children of Israel. All right. Now in verse 7, this is what it says. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, right? The house of Israel, right? The children of Israel, the Israelites, they're not going to listen to you. So when Ezekiel is speaking to the children of Israel, they like, man, we ain't going to listen to, man, the prophets. I said that yesterday in the class, right, that we did in Creole. The prophets, people did not love the prophets, man. Today, this class is in Marcus. This class is in English. All right. This class is in English. Somebody's asking me to speak Creole. Classe a li en anglais. Okay. Classe dimanche la pa Creole. Okay. Classe a li en anglais, frère. All right. So stay tuned, man. Rete branché. Wap apren anglais. Stay tuned and learn this English, man. You're going to learn English. All right. So Ezekiel was not speaking his own words. He did not go and say, you know what? This is what I think. This is what we should be doing. He did not do that. If he did that, the people would listen to him, because that's how our people are. We like to listen to liars. We like to listen to charlatans. But the Most High God told Ezekiel what? The house of Israel will not hearken unto thee. They're not going to listen to you. And like I was saying this in the class yesterday, that people did not listen to the prophets. The prophets are famous today. We love to read about Ezekiel today. Today we open the book and, we love to read about Ezekiel. We love to read about Jeremiah. But in those days, the children of Israel didn't want to listen to these men. And he's going to tell you that in this same verse. For they will not hearken unto me. So why they didn't listen to Ezekiel? Because they didn't want to listen to Ezekiel? No. Because Ezekiel was saying something that comes from God. And once you are saying something that comes from God, this is how stiff-necked our people are. Because we don't want to listen to that God talk. We don't want to listen to that. We want to listen to your vain philosophies, what you created in your mind. What did you create? What philosophy did you create in your mind? All right, let's listen to this. Let's listen to that. Don't tell me what God said. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. So when the people are not listening to Ezekiel, they are thinking, we don't want to listen to Ezekiel. They're not understanding that God is speaking to them. They're not understanding that they are not hearkening. They are not paying attention. They are not listening to what God is saying to them through the prophet Ezekiel. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-headed. Okay, so now let's go back to the book of Numbers. All right, let's get back to Numbers. Numbers chapter 16, verse 11. For which cause both thou and thy company are gathered together against the Lord. Remember, they coming against Moses and Aaron. But in their mind, they're not coming against God. Moses know they coming against God. This is why he fell in his face in verse, what was that? Verse 4. Verse 4, and Moses heard it and fell upon his face, just like he did in chapter 14. Because he understand this. He understand the structure that the Most High put in place. And these men coming up against him, he knows, damn, these men are coming against the Most High power. They coming against God. And this is what a lot of brothers don't understand when they attacking, the Lord's anointed, man. And that shows you they man, in the time of Ezekiel, you will not listen to Ezekiel. When you coming against the Isupk, when you coming against Commanding General Yohana, you come against Captain Tazoria, you got all these things you want to say about us, you would not follow Ezekiel in the time that Ezekiel was alive. You will not follow Jeremiah. You will not follow Moses. You will be the brothers that saying, you know what? We all holy, man. What's up with this Moses thing? Because that's what you're doing today. What's up with this Isupk thing, man? Home of the truth. We got the truth too. We all got the truth. No, we don't. No, we don't. All right. The truth is with the Isupk. That's who the Most High established the truth with. Before Commanding General Yohana was ever in the Isupk, the Most High established the truth with the Isupk. The leadership fell upon Commanding General Yohana's shoulders, and he held on to it. He held on to it for over 40 years. He held on to it. All right. Let's read this again. Verse 11. For which cause both thou and all thy company are gathered together against the Lord. And what is Aaron that ye murmur against him? Why y'all talking against Aaron, man? Aaron is a soldier. He's following my orders, right? Because remember, the Most High told Moses, you shall be a God to Aaron, right? Aaron was the mouth of Moses. Aaron spake the words of Moses to the congregation. But the word of Moses came from who? It came from the Most High God. So Moses is looking like, yo, why y'all coming against Aaron, yo? Y'all coming up against Aaron? Y'all murmur against Aaron? Aaron is a soldier that's following what I'm telling him that the Most High is directing me to do. That's why we are free today. That's why we're not enslaving Egypt. That's why we are not serving the Egyptians. That's why all these miracles, all these plagues came upon Egypt. Why? Because I'm following orders from a higher power. Servant, obey your masters. These brothers didn't want to do that. Verse 12. And Moses sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the son of Eliab, which said, we will not come up. Verse 13. Is it a small thing that thou hast brought us up out of a land that floweth with milk and honey? Now listen to their rebuttal. Listen to their rebuttal, man. When Moses says it is a small thing to you, the service of the Lord. Listen to what they say. Is it a small thing? Is it a small thing that thou hast brought us up out of a land that floweth with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness, except thou make thyself altogether a prince over us? Is that a small thing to you? You took us out of Egypt, man. Egypt was flowing with milk and honey. Yes, we were slaves in Egypt. So what? But we had milk. We had honey. So what? The Egyptians was whipping our back, man. So what? You take us out of Egypt. You take us out of slavery, right? You took us out of bondage in Egypt, and you brought us over here to be free men, to build our own nation. What's wrong with you, Moses? That's the mindset. Why you ain't let us stay slaves in Egypt? Why we had to come over here and be free men? Why? And you see what we are talking about here? You got to understand. Like a lot of people, right? Being that from the tribe of Levi, a lot of people we look at the oppression of our people and specifically dealing with the revolt, the Haitian revolution. Don't think that everybody was trying to fight for freedom. Not everybody wanted to be free. Not everybody wanted to join Jean-Jacques Dessalines and fight the French. You had some Maroons that were still working for the French. You had black people that were still working for the French while another group of black men were trying to fight them off the island. You had black people still in their military, the same way we do today. Don't think that everybody want, and it's a sad thing. It is a sad thing, right? It's a sad thing because the will of the Most High, man, and our will is that all Israel, shall be saved. It's for all Israel to be saved. It's not for us to be like, you know what, we save over here. Y'all Negroes gonna die. That's not how Moses thought. That's not the spirit, of Christ. All right. But you don't want to listen, you're gonna see what's gonna happen. We are in verse 14, right? In verse 14. They said, moreover, thou hast brought us into a land that floweth with milk and honey, and given us, so like it. Verse 13. Is it a small thing that thou hast brought us out of a land that floweth with milk and honey to unalive us in the wilderness, except thou make thyself altogether a prince over us? Verse 14. Moreover, thou hast not brought us into a land that floweth with milk and honey. So they calling Egypt the land that floweth with milk and honey. And they saying, we in this wilderness here. You ain't bring us to no land that floweth with milk and honey. Not over here. All right. So like it. Or giving us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Wilt thou put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up. So we came over here. We don't have no land. There's no milk and honey over here. We don't have no inheritance. You know why? These men did not want to work. These men do not understand that freedom costs. It costs to be free. It's going to cost you some work. It's going to cost you some determination. It's going to cost you willpower. It's going to cost you faith. You're going to have faith in the Most High God when you fight for your freedom. And now you are free. Now you do not have the Egyptians over you. Now you have to figure it out. Now you have to build your house. Now you have to build your hospitals. Now you have to build your schools. Now you have to make your own clothes. Now you have to build your own nation, educate your own women, your own children. Some men don't want to do that. Some men rather go back to Egypt. You rather be slaves in America than to gather together and be free, than to follow the man that the Most High God chose. Some people rather be slaves in a functioning society that is wicked, in a wicked functioning society. That's what these men wanted. Even though Egypt was wicked, even though Egypt was full of idolatry, was full of, iniquity, full of whoredom. When you look in Leviticus, the 18th chapter, you see all the laws that the Most High God put in place for us not to do like the Egyptians were doing, because they were such a filthy, disgusting people. Even though Egypt was so wicked, these men wanted to go back to Egypt. Verse 15. And Moses And Moses was very wroth, and said unto the Lord, respect not thou their offering. I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I hurt one of them. Verse 16. And Moses said unto Korah, be thou and all thy company before the Lord, thou and they and Aaron tomorrow. So now we're going to see who the Lord is with. Because according to Korah, we are all holy. According to Korah, Moses and Aaron should not be the leaders. Him and his 250 princes, they should be leaders as well. That's what Korah thought. He thought that it was wise to come up against Moses. He thought that he did not have to submit to Moses. He did not have to obey Moses. For what? Moses is no master. He's a prince. He's a famous person in Israel. Why he has to listen to Moses for? Why? Verse 18. And they took every man his censer and put fire in them and laid incense thereon and stood in the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with Moses and Aaron. Verse 19. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord appeared unto all the congregation. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, verse 21, now listen to this carefully. Separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. Let's read that again. I think 2 weeks ago, I did a class. It's called Separate, then Gather Together. All right? We have to separate ourselves from wicked men. We have to separate ourselves from our oppressors. We have to separate ourselves from people that are among us that do not want to listen to the voice of God. And we have to gather together as a people. Over here, the Most High is telling Moses, he's giving him an instruction because he's about to do something with these knuckleheads who do not want to listen to the man that God put in place. They think they're coming up against Moses. They think they're coming up against Aaron. Lo and behold, they coming up against God. They coming up against the power that make us holy, because they say we holy too. Yeah, you are holy. But are you the holy of holy? Are you the people that the Most High anointed? Are you the man that the Most High anointed to lead Israel? You have your position. Play your position. Submit to your master and obey your master. Why? Because your master is watching over your soul. He's watching over your soul. This is who the Most High God chose. The Most High God chose these men to lead you. So what do you have to do? You have to fall in line. Get in these ranks. That's what you do. You get in these ranks and you say, "Kun out of one kun." Moses give you an order, kun out of one kun. Aaron give you another, kun out of one kun. Commanding General Yohana give an order. Commanding General Yohana did a decree back in 2012 to say, gather together, come back home. You're supposed to say kun out of one kun. That's what you're supposed to say. But you don't want to listen though. You holy. Verse 21. Separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. Verse 22. And they fell upon their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirit of all flesh, shall one man sin, and wilt thou be wroth with all the congregation? Verse 23. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 24, speak unto the congregation, saying, get you up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. All All right. Verse 25. And Moses rose up and went unto Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. 26. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, Depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men. Why? These men were wicked. Why were they wicked? Because they did not want to follow the men that the Most High established. They did not want to follow the structure that the Most High God established. The Most High God established a structure. And when you're a soldier, you understand this. When you're not a man that's wicked, that lust after power, that lust after fame, like these men, you understand this. You understand the structure. You understand what the Most High established. These men were wicked men. They were wicked for coming up against Moses. Even Moses is not even concerned about himself. He's looking like, damn, y'all murmuring about Aaron? That's how brotherly Moses was. He wasn't even concerned about them murmuring about him. He's like, damn, y'all murmuring about Aaron. Y'all some wicked bastards, man. Y'all some wicked fools. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, Depart, I pray you, from the tents, and these wicked men, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be consumed in all their sin. If you don't want to be consumed, if you don't want to be unalive because of their sin, separate yourself from them. And as a people, that's what we need to do today. We need to separate ourselves from the Christian church. We need to separate ourselves from these fake Israelites. You got these fake Israelites that are leading our people astray. Today, you got 100 Israelite groups, all talking different things. They keep the 12 tribes, they keep our milk scriptures, but then they change the doctrine. We're not doing the same thing. We are not doing the same work. We are not all holy. These men are wicked men. They are wicked. And you need to separate yourselves from these wicked bastards. These are vagabond Jews who do not want to follow the structure that the Most High God established, man. The Most High God blessed us with this truth in 1969. It's not a light thing. This truth is not a light thing. So when you see men, speak against the man in the Isupk, speak against our leaders, man, speak against their masters, you got to understand there is something that is coming. And you need to separate yourself from them. Because these men, they will not follow Moses. In the time of Moses, they will not follow Moses. They will do exactly what you see them doing today. Exactly what you see them doing today, they will do in the time of Moses. They will do exactly what Korah and the 250 princes did. Speak against the Most High's anointed. All right, let's read that again. Verse 26. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, Depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be consumed in all their sins. Verse 27. So they got up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram on every side. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood in the door of their tents, and their wives and their sons and their little children. Verse 28. The Most High is a terrible power, man. This truth is not a joke. This truth is not a joke. Because of the internet, a lot of people take this truth for a joke because, now you can just get online. You can just log in, and be famous overnight. You don't have to follow no order. You don't have to follow any protocols. You don't have to follow the structure that the Most High God established. You don't have to do that. You could just get online, create a name, Ben Yahuda, Ben Yehudi, whatever you want to do, and you're going to have people that's going to listen to you. This truth is not that. This truth is not a joke. Verse 28, and a lot of y'all gonna understand this. And Moses said, hereby ye shall know that the Lord hath sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own mind. This is important. This is what we was talking about the whole time. This is why we went to the book of Ezekiel, to show you that Ezekiel, when he was speaking to the people, the Most High told him, they're not going to listen to you. You know why they're not going to listen to you? Because they're not listening to me. So everything that Moses was doing, he wasn't doing them because that's what was in his mind. He did not even want to do it. He didn't want that position. Moses did not want that position. Moses did not want to go. And Moses like, God, I can't even talk. I the stutter. Moses is like, look, Aaron is going to be your mouthpiece. And you're going to be to him as God. Moses like, but he did not want to do this. This is why it says, and Moses said, hereby ye shall know that the Lord hath sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own mind. You look at the Isupk and you think, you know what, these brothers decide what they want to do. No. And you just copy it. You copy it and you go and try to do it. Verse 29, if these men die the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then the Lord have not sent me. All right? That means what? If they die in their old age, you know, they die naturally, you know, the common death, you know, then God didn't send me. Why is Moses saying this? We're going to see why. But if the Lord make a new thing, and the earth open her mouth and swallow them up with all that appertain unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then ye shall understand that these men have provoked the Lord. So you mean to tell me, after all these miracles, man, after all these miracles that Moses did through the power of the Most High God, we still need some more confirmation. We still need some confirmation to know that, you know what, God is with this man. A wicked generation seeketh after a sign. We always want a sign. We cannot, like, we have no faith. We didn't need to get there. There's no reason after Moses led us out of bondage, out of slavery in Egypt, there's no need that we should be there. Where Moses have to say, you know what? If this happened, then y'all gonna know that God is with me. You mean to tell me you don't know that God is with Moses? You don't know this. You don't know that there's a higher power that Moses submitted himself to. Thus is the reason that we are in the wilderness right now and not enslaved in Egypt and not getting our back whipped by the Egyptians. You don't understand this? They did not. They did not. Let's see, verse 31. And it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all these words, after he said everything he said in verse 30, verse 29 and verse 30, right? That the ground clave asunder that was under them. 32. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the man that appertaineth unto Korah, and all their goods. The earth shook and opened up, and all these brothers and their families lost their lives, man. They all lost their lives. Why? Because they came against God. How? They came against Moses. By coming up against Moses and Aaron, they came against God. They thinking in their mind, nah, we going against these men because these men are making themselves princes over us. They talking about they holy, that the Most High God is with them. Well, we holy too. God is with us too. You know, we holy too. We the sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We can be leaders too. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appertaineth unto Korah, and all their goods. Let's go back to Ephesians chapter 6. What does it say? Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters, according to the flesh, with fear and trembling in singleness of your heart, as unto Christ. Now, this was before Christ, what we're reading about. Verse 6, not with eye service as men pleasers, but as servants of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart. Now, when you look at what Moses was doing, like Moses said in verse, what was it? 28, for I have not done them of my own mind. Moses was not following, himself. He was not, his own God. Today, a lot of people want you to be your own God. They don't want you to serve the higher power. You are your own God. You decide. That's not how Moses operated. Moses was doing everything that he did. Why? Because he was following the will of the Father, doing the will of God from the heart. Verse 7, with good will doing service as to the Lord and not to men. What these men did not understand, when they followed Moses, Aaron, who was following Moses, he was not following a man. He was following God. When these people did not want to listen to Ezekiel, they did not, turn their ears from a man. They turned their ears from God. This is what a lot of us, we don't understand. Yet, for some reason, we love to read about these men in the Bible. We love to open the book of Numbers, read about Joshua. We love to open the book of Leviticus, read the word of Moses. We love to open the book of, the Judges, the book of Ezekiel, Jeremiah, Obadiah, Amos. We reading about these men, and we have this honor for these men. But the men that are alive today, you have no honor for them. And you think you are following God. You come up against the Isupk thinking that you coming up against men. You're not coming up against men. You're coming up against God. Because the Isupk is of the Most High God. The Isupk is the home of the truth that was established in 1969 to wake up the 12 tribes of Israel, to get us out of the captivity that we are under, so that we can build the kingdom that is to come. Because this current world, this current kingdom, this world is dying right before our eyes. And the world that is coming, like it says in 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 9, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The world that is coming, the Isupk, we are here to raise up our people so that we can build this world, so that we can take the kingdom. It's going to take work that the Isupk is doing, and we have been doing. So when you come up against the Isupk, you think you're coming up against men. You're not coming up against men. You're coming up against God. And a lot of y'all don't understand, because you will not follow Moses, even though you love to read about Moses. You will not follow Jeremiah in the time of Jeremiah. You will not follow Ezekiel in his time. How do I know? Because the structure that the Most High established in these last days, you do not want to fall in these ranks. So I know the structure that the Most High God established back then, you will not follow these men either. Even though you love to read about them, let's keep on reading. Read Ephesians chapter 6, verse 8. Knowing that whatsoever good thing any man doeth, the same shall he receive of the Lord, whether he be bond or free. And ye masters, do the same things unto them. Just like the servant have to listen to the masters, and that's how you know this ain't talking about no slavery. The masters have to do the same thing. The masters, this is the relationship. Moses listened to Aaron. Even the Most High God, when the Most High God told Moses, look, these knuckleheads, we gonna unalive, or I'm gonna unalive all of them. I'm gonna unalive all of them, and then I'm going to make a nation out of you. We're going to be, your nation is going to be the Mashaite, the Mosesite. Even the Lord pardoned the children of Israel. Why? For the words of Moses, because of what Moses said unto him. And ye masters, do the same things unto them, forbearing, threatening, knowing that your master also is in heaven, neither is there respect of person with him. All right? So, when you go back to the book of Numbers and you look at these 250 plus men that came up against Moses, understand that these men are alive today. When you see all these breakups, you see all these Israelite groups, you see all these vain philosophies that are coming out of these groups, understand these men are the same men that will not follow Moses in the time that Moses lived. They will not follow Moses. They will not follow the prophets, even though they teach out of the book of the prophets. They will not follow them. Why? Because they have no honor whatsoever. They have no honor for the man that the Most High anointed to wake up the 12 tribes of Israel. And when you look at this truth today, man, this truth is spreading in all four corners of this earth, man. I mean, Israelites are waking up all across the globe, man. You know where it all started? It all started in 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. That's where it all started. That's the mustard seed that Most High planted in Harlem, that is now in the UK, that is now in Haiti, that is now in Brazil, that is now in Africa, that is, in Europe, that is all across the globe. Everybody is waking up. The 12 tribes are waking up to their true identity. And as they wake up, now they got to watch you bastards. They got to watch you, Korah and Adahim, whatever their name was, and they have to be amongst you. Why? Because you don't want to tell them, well, this is where the truth is at. You don't want to tell them to go to Moses. You don't want to say that. You don't want to tell them, go where it all started at. Go where the Most High blessed us with this truth at. The ISUPK, we are there to let everybody know, get away from these tents, man. Get away from these tents. Get away from these Korah, from these Dathan, from these Abiram. Get away, man. Get away. Just 2 weeks ago, we have another Israelite that is in jail right now for having sex with a 15-year-old girl that came out from the same Israelite group that, their high priest. This was a prominent Israelite. He was holy of holy. He was a high priest getting banged by his woman. Get out from these people, man. Separate yourselves. and come to the home of the truth. Obey your masters. Your masters are in the Isupk under commanding General Yohana. This is where the truth is at. All right. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite groups. If it is not of the Isupk, it is not of the Lord. Let's finish reading these scriptures. But, Salakia, we in verse 32. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appertained unto Korah, and all of their goods. Verse 33. They and all that appertaineth to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. Verse 34. And all Israel that were round about them fled at the cry of them, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up also. Verse 35. And now they understood. Now they understood, you know what? Let's run away before, we get swallowed up by this earth. The same way Korah and everybody else that came up against Moses got unalive. Let's run. Now they understand. Don't wait till it's too late to understand this. Don't wait till it's too late. You separate today with the scriptures. That's why you have all this honor for the prophets of the Bible, and you have no honor for the prophets of today. Because you separate, you're not living reality, you're living an illusion. You don't have faith, really. You don't have true faith. Because if you did, you will understand why it is important to obey your masters. You obey Jeremiah and Ezekiel and Moses and all the prophets today because you're reading about them in a book, and you do not obey your masters. You don't obey the prophets that are alive today because you're faking it. Verse 35. And there came out a fire from the Lord and consumed the 250 men that offered incense. 36. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, that he take up the censers out of the burning and scatter thou the fire yonder, for they are hallowed. Verse 38, the censers of these sinners against their own souls, let them make them broad plates for a covering of the altar, for they offer them before the Lord, therefore they are hallowed. And they shall be a sign unto the children of Israel. And Eleazar the priest took the brass and censers wherewith they that were burnt had offered, and they were made broad plates for a covering of the altar, to be a memorial unto the children of Israel. And you have to remember this. These stories that we are reading about in Romans chapter 15, verse 4, what does it say? It says, whatsoever was written aforetime were written for our learning. When you are reading these scriptures, man, remember, this is for your learning. This is for you to learn what was written aforetime. This is not for you to look at it and separate it from your reality today. You look at these prophets, man, who spread this truth in all four corners of this earth, man. That the enemies, our enemies, man, they work so hard to keep us away from this truth. Our enemies, they spend billions of dollars. They use all the propaganda, all the whitewashing, all the miseducation, everything that they could do in their power to keep us from knowing our true identity. And today in 2026, you are seeing the power of God through these men spreading this truth, where Jamaicans are waking up to their identity, where Mexicans are waking up to their identity, so-called Black Americans, Haitians, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans are waking up to their identity. this is not the will of man. We couldn't do this. This is the power of God. This is the power of God that is waking up the 12 tribes of Israel. And you separate reality with the scriptures. You separate it. We couldn't. Yes. We couldn't do this, man. There's no way that we could be waking up, the Haitians to their true identity. Levi are waking up to their identity now, man. There's no way that we could have done it if it was not the will of God, man. If it was not the power of God. This is the power of God, man. This is why you see these people, our enemies, they are threatened by this truth. They are threatened by it because they spent so much money. They spent so much energy. They did so much propaganda to keep us away from knowing who we are. And when you are looking the man that the Most High used to spread this truth, and you come against these men, these are the men that you choose to come against. The man that the Most High used to spread this truth in all four corners of this earth. You got to understand there's something coming for you. So when you see men disrespecting, trying to disrespect Commanding General Your Honor, trying to disrespect my captain, Captain Tazoryak, Captain Mashak, Captain, Kahan, Captain Sakawar, Captain Katazar, all my captains, all the generals, General Mahayaman, all my generals, Salakia for the order. When you see men that's coming up against the Isupk, read the scriptures, because this was to be a memorial unto the children of Israel, that no stranger which is not of the seed of Aaron come near to offer incense before the Lord. Now, we are no longer under the priesthood of the Levite. Why? Because after this, the Levite fell as well. We are under the priesthood of Melchizedek, which is Christ. But these stories, don't separate them from your reality today, because the priests and prophets that the Most High God anointed, they are still here. They're here. And the decree was made back in 2012 for all Israel to come back home. I'm going to leave y'all with this scripture in Matthew, the 7th chapter. Matthew chapter 7. Let's read this real quick. Because everybody think they holy. Why? Because they have a YouTube channel. They have a YouTube channel and they have, a couple of thousands of followers, and shit gets to their head. It gets to their head that they think, oh yeah, we the truth. We holy. Look how many followers we got. Look how many followers we got. We the holy one. We are the new home of the truth. Matthew, it's Ezekiel. Where's Matthew? I just opened it up. So like Israel. We go into the book of Matthew chapter 7. We're going to end the class with these scriptures. All right, let's jump to verse 15. All right, make sure it's sharing. All right, Matthew chapter 7, verse 15. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Verse 16. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs or thistles? I'm sure that these men, these princes that was following Korah, I'm sure they thought that Korah was the new Moses. I'm sure they look at him like, nah, he's the prophet right here, because he's going to make us holy. I'm sure, like, you got to think, what was going through these men's mind? What was going through these men's mind? What was going through their mind to say, all right, let's align ourselves with Korah? After they witnessed everything that happened to the Egyptians. They witnessed it all. They saw all the plagues, all the destruction that came down on the Egyptians through Moses. They saw it all. Yet they chose to side with Korah against Moses and Aaron. What was going through their mind? They must have think that Korah was the new prophet. He was the holy of all holy. I always wonder what was going on to these brothers' mind. It's the same way I wonder today, man. Damn, how could brothers know this history and then they, with the pagan kits, priests? How? I don't understand. I don't want to understand it either. I don't. There's certain things I do not even want to understand. But I just be wondering. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do man gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Verse 17. Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. Verse 18. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. The Isupk is a good tree. The Isupk is the good tree. That is the only tree. All right. That is the only home of the truth. Everything else is fake. Everything else is evil, and you are going to witness the evil fruits that's going to come out of these trees. You are seeing it right now. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. All right, just like Korah and his men. Wherefore, by their fruits ye shall know them. All right, we're going all the way down to verse. We got 3 more verses, I think. Verse 21. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. Let me read that again. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. Korah and them, they were setting up their incense, I'm sure they were speaking to the Most High God. They were speaking to the Most High God, with their incense, with their censers. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father, which is in heaven. Korah did not want to do the will of the Father and submit himself to Moses. That was God's will. Submit yourself to Moses, just like Aaron did. Aaron submitted himself to Moses. Aaron could have said, this nigga can't even talk. He could have said that. He could have said, this dude can't even talk. I got to speak for him. I'm the man. But Aaron submitted himself to Moses. Moses was his God. Moses was Aaron's God. Aaron did not say, man, this guy can't even talk, man. He can't even talk. That's not what he did. He submitted himself to God. And you, Korah, you couldn't do it? Verse 22, many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works. Now you have fake Israelites who did not believe in Christ, who believe in Christ now. They didn't believe in Christ. Now they believe in Christ. All right. Now they know that the Isupk was right, but they still coming up against the Isupk. These brothers are so twisted in their mind. Twisted. They don't understand the scriptures. They do not have the Spirit of God. These brothers are lost. These brothers think they are so smart. They do not want to obey their masters. Listen, I don't care what degree you have. A trooper in the Isupk is your master. And you should obey him. A trooper in the Isupk. If you are not in the Isupk and you are high priest such and such somewhere else, understand this. A trooper in the Isupk is your master, and you should obey him. You should do it. For many will say in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? Verse 23. And then I will profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Verse 23. And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. This will complete the class for tonight. Tawada, everybody who joined. We are the Isupk, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We are under the leadership of Commanding General Yohana. And since 1969, we've been teaching our people the truth that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are God's chosen people. And our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. Commanding General Yohana made a decree back in 2012 for all Israel to gather together. Servant, obey your masters. Your masters are in the Isupk. Nowhere else. We are the home of the truth. And as we get closer to this Third World War, you are going to understand this. Shalom Israel. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Brakatham. Yahweh Shamar Alatan Ba'ashem Yahushua. Make sure you go to the Real Commanding General Yohana's channel. He's about to, I believe they are live right now already. The Real Commanding General Yohana. All right, the generals are live right now. I'm about to tune in myself. So go tune in to Commanding General Yohana's class. Shalom Israel.